Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Upon a Heathen Path. As always, I am your host of Chaos, Eric.
And I'm your host, Stevie.
Today, we are going to talk about deconstruction in Christianity, and not saying we're going to destruct it. We're going to deconstruct ourselves, and what I have gone through and what Stevie has experienced in herself, which is a lot different than my story. We're not saying we're bashing Christianity, and we're not denying that it's a religion. We are saying we're talking about experiences and ways for others to who have lost. The answers don't make sense anymore. And this is just an episode of knowledge and hope and a guide of like what we have experienced and walked through, and maybe you guys can relate to this in your own life, right? And what is deconstruction itself within a religion, right? And it starts with, it's not just losing faith, it's a process of examining beliefs you inherited, not the ones that you chose, right? And for myself, it was driven highly by integrity and very little by rebellion. Like I said, so Stevie has her own experience with it, and I have my own, right? So Stevie you're never Christian to begin with, right?
No.
Right. So as never being a Christian before, let's walk through that real quick, or as long as it takes.
I just was never Christian. I never believed in a God.
Yeah.
I was never bound to a specific God. My family was, not me. Um, I was free. I didn't need to feel tied down to a religion.
Right.
Or at that time.
But
and like I said, go ahead.
But so like you've been to a church before, right? A Christian church?
Yeah, I went to a Baptist church when I was like in kindergarten.
Okay. So like myself, I was in and out of Methodist churches, and I was actually baptized Lutheran. And like for me it was more free choice. Like my parents never really pushed it on me, but they're always like, there is a God. I'm like, how do you know? I'm like, well, that's just what this book said. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. That there's just this thing, and it's the only thing that's out there. It just never clicked with me either. So, I mean, at one point in time, I did believe I found Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, and the way to the Silver City, right? And obviously now that's not what I believe in, and it was I don't know, like coming out to the parents, it was a little bit different, but that's a whole nother topic in itself. But so the big thing is like deconstructing is it's not something that you chose. Like you're going against the things that were pushed against you, right? And like, okay, how do we get into the process of beginning to deconstruct Christianity? Like how do we start that? Or how do we help others understand like where it started, kind of thing?
I think they need first off ask themselves, are they really ready to deconstruct from that religion, from whatever religion, not just Christianity, you got Baptist, all the other ones. I mean, they're gonna fear it. I mean, it is big. But like personally, I have never had to deconstruct because I was never, but I've had a lot of people come to me and ask me how. So I've done a lot of research within that. And like where to start. I mean, kind of where do you want to go? What do you see yourself without a God? Really? Like
Just one singular
reflect.
God, right?
Right. Or no, like even say a God's not watching you. Like who are you as a person without anything watching you? And then self-reflect on that. That's
Okay,
where
so like your core value is your own
exactly.
your own
Your
human.
yes, like self-reflect is a big thing. And which way do you want to go? Do you want to be a Norse pagan? Do you want to be a Celtic, like, but I'm going to teach people Norse because that's what I am. So you got to look within yourself and take time to, though. Don't rush.
Right.
That would be my first step. Just breathe.
Well, okay, so saying, okay, as someone, you're saying as someone who was a devout Christian, or not devout, but in Christian beliefs their entire life, to step into or step out of in a slow pattern, right? Don't just jump, right?
No.
Right.
And the first step would literally be, if you want to be a Norse pagan, do not start with the gods. Start with your ancestors and the land,
Okay.
not the gods. The gods you kind of want to do last, because I mean you can study them, but work with them, I wouldn't recommend that first, because you need to know the religion. You need to know your ancestors and like the land spirits, because those, you live within the land spirits and your ancestors are what run through you.
So more
And
like the elementals kind of thing.
yes. Yeah.
So just break that down for layman's terms. Take your damn shoes off and go walk outside. Go walk the beach, go walk the woods, go walk in some rocks. Feel the world, right? Like all the elements, and that's where she makes a really good point. Start there. Like, learn the land. Like, I think all of us want to learn our ancestry. I'm getting ready to do an ancestry kit, so like I'm super excited to see what that turns out. Stay tuned. We might be baffled, and I might be all like 100% Hispanic or Asian. We never know.
Goodness.
A lineage of deconstructed Orientalism.
That's funny. I did mine forever ago, but mine changes all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Like right now it's I'm Scottish and Germanic.
Oh, there you go.
And Welsh.
Sort of
But
makes sense, doesn't it?
before I don't even know what I had. I had Irish in me, which I only have like a slither of Irish. But I had more Irish than I did Scottish, but now I have more Scottish than I do Irish.
Right.
But now a lot of my family does derive like I'm related to Queen Victoria. And she's everywhere.
It must be the dress tonight, right? It's the red dress, it's the vibe. So like, so what do you think are like some triggers, is like why people, like, back to why people begin. I see like some triggers of like, especially from Christianity, is like people that are in the OBGTQ community get denounced and throughout the churches itself.
Because they judge. They
Right.
always say, "Thou shalt not sleep with a man and a man, or a woman and a woman." But like when people start reflecting, like I said, on themselves, they realize like that isn't who they are. So there's a trauma. That's a trauma to them. Like a lot of LGBT people, they choose Norse specifically because within Norse, you're not, the gods don't judge you. They all know humans make mistakes. Humans are who they want to be. Like they're free. Don't we only have certain things? Just be honor, honor. Don't be an oath breaker. That type of stuff. Not like you can't do this, and it's not. We're not perfect. So,
Right. Well,
like for
that
them,
breaks into hypocrisy
exactly.
between Jesus' teachings and then the church behaviors itself.
Hey, so we could talk about the authority versus the relationship with the sacred. So, like with Christianity, it's centralized to one God, one Savior, and one book. And then the truth is revealed and fixed.
God said is a conversation stopper right there.
Right.
Right. And you're right. The truth and what's fixed. And again, like we keep saying, I feel like we say this in every episode. Every religion is an interpretation, but it's the behaviors of those interpretations that you see in Christian churches. Well, just other churches.
I mean, like I want to put this out there. So you have Norse mythology, then you have Christian mythology. It's the same thing.
But then you see, yeah, right. But then you see pastors, they're also unquestionable authorities. That's how they're viewed in the church, right?
Right.
Not to us. But if
Yeah.
God is the only God, then we listen to that. Speaking third person here. But then the pastors are also an unquestionable authority. Well,
That
that's
doesn't
just the
make sense.
hypocrisy in it. It doesn't make sense. You can't say
Right.
this and then, well, I'm the hand of God. Well, that's not how it works.
Right.
You can't say this and then obviously do the other.
Well, and that's what we could talk about, like the sin versus honor and like the deeds and consequences. Like with Christianity, you have a core problem, which is sin. Everything is a sin, which is inherited or it's personal.
What's the punishment for sin? Be like
You're
the
going to go to hell.
construction of hell or the internal punishment.
Yeah.
What and our version of hell is not that.
No, ours is so basically when you go from Christianity to Norse, you're shifting, like what I just said, you're going to shift your guilt based morality to more of an action base with accountability. And like ours, we don't. So our wrongdoings creates consequences, but not eternal dominations.
Right, and it's not used as a control, or the fear of it is not used as a control mechanism. It's like, listen, if you die from old age or sickness and not battle, you're going to go to hell. And to be very clear, hell is spelled Hel, and it's not like you're there for a punishment for not dying in battle. It's not the same. Like there's no
Like
consequences.
exactly. Our religion for the afterlife is more focused on how one lives and not what one believed.
Right. But like
And
eternal torment contradicts the divine justice.
yes.
Right. And that's not nobody likes that idea. Like you make one small mistake and I'm gonna be punished the rest of my afterlife for that.
Or you're constantly filled with guilt of thinking that you constantly have to ask for forgiveness. And I don't think any person should have to beg and ask somebody for forgiveness because, like I said, we're all humans.
As long as okay, as a human though, as long as you, back to the honorability thing, own that mistake, right? And it wasn't out of despite or malicious intent, which usually if you're doing something like that, you've already made an oath of some sort, I would think. But as long as you're like, shit, I made a mistake, my bad, tried to make amends to the person or situation, cool by me. I'm not one to judge you anymore. I can't see that.
That's where it comes with you live with that. You have to hold yourself accountable for your actions and face the consequences. Like you have to do that. Like that's what we were going into like with the afterlife. It's how you choose to live. It's how you as a person choose to live.
Right. So then you got, purity culture and then sexual control, which is major in the churches and throughout the Bible. And what the funny thing is that, you know, the Bible canon wasn't actually set out until like the 4th century AD.
Right.
And our teachings go way before then. If we're talking 4th century, it's 400 plus years before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because, scholars and learned men spoke different tongues. And that was just, this is not, that doesn't make sense. But then you start throwing it towards foreign people. It's, all these other things are just shame and spiritual discipline, and sexuality becomes the obsession because it's an easy target back then, and it is now too. And it's a control, it's a control grip that the churches and the want, like they just force it all the time, all in every book and almost every chapter.
And that's another thing why I think a lot of women nowadays are going to pagan because within the God religion, any of those, women have to be submissive to the man. They have to be modest, submissive, and do what that man tells them to do. The man is in control, and that's just how they're taught. And within our religion, we've already discussed this in previous episodes that women are the same. Like we're the same. A man is not submissive over me. Just
Correct.
like a woman is not going to be submissive over a man. Like we're all free. Like it's not a man controls a woman, and because that's not how it works. So I do think a lot of women who suffered the trauma and had to be submissive to the God, to their man, to the church and everything else, I do think that is why a lot of women are such in.
That rolls into the trauma out of Christianity. Then it builds religious trauma, which is real because it's gaslighting, is gaslighting in the sense of a spiritual correction
Mhm.
and forgiveness used to silence victims. Right? You just don't say anything, and then all is forgotten. It's not a big deal, and
Right.
it's I seen a couple articles or religion syndrome. It's recognized amongst a lot of clinicians that do mental health with individuals, and it creates a lot of identity confusion, I believe, and then it makes it hard to begin the deconstruction. First of all, because you don't know who the fuck you are at that point, and if I don't know who I am, I'm already not comfortable doing this. I'm more scared to go venture out into the world of something else. So back to Stevie's point, if you're going to start stepping out of Christianity, do it slow, right? Do your research, be intelligible about it, and when those, because it's going to happen, it happens for anybody who has any sort of trauma, PTSD, right? Uh, Emotional flashbacks are going to be triggered, but then but again, you have to build yourself up. You have to just keep pushing forward to it or pushing out of it one way or the other, right? Push this way, and then don't forget about this shit, but you got to use that as kind of a fuel instead of a fear, I think.
Yeah.
So the and then well, it's okay. What comes after Christianity, right? We already talked about starting slow, getting into the elementals. Then what comes after that?
So you want to rebuild after deconstructing. You
Mm-hmm.
rebuild yourself. So what does that mean though? Is that what you're asking? Like
Yeah.
how okay, so you're gonna come out with loss of certainty. You're going to have to relearn rituals. You're relearning the whole rituals. You're building your ethics without fear. That's a top one. And then you're honoring ancestors without blood quantum myths. And you're choosing gods without an expectation of perfection.
Right. And that that ancestors without blood quantum, that means they don't have to be your blood relatives. The ancestors just near and far. They don't have to be blood related. You go and do an ancestry.com, it don't matter. Your ancestors are those, any of those that you believed in, and if they practice certain ways or they came from this region of the world, blood quantum doesn't mean that you have to be directly attached to these people or this heritage or these ancestors. You can honor, we do it all the time. We do it all the time in the world, and I think people don't recognize that. We honor maybe not ancestors, but in the way that's the way I see it, was that we are honoring ancestors to a certain extent. Like, okay, think about Memorial Day, right? We're honoring all those that died in war, and I don't see it as we're just honoring U.S. soldiers that died in war, or everybody who died, right? So that's just I think an easy example to make a small connection of like what that kind of means. It doesn't have to be blood related. Like you're paying respect and tribute to just a certain set of people, ancestors, and it's just an encapsulated word at that point, right? So,
Right.
and find spirituality without a dogma. Like we don't need dogma dominance anymore. It's a fad that's ran. I can't can't say that enough. And not just spirituality without dogma. Like, and you don't have to convert to paganism. Like, you could do cool. We got you. Oh, there's all sorts of shit out there. Wiccan, mysticism, secular humanism.
There's Taoism, which I've studied within school, and it's not my religion, but Taoism.
It's interesting.
Taoism is a little similar to our religion because it's more of let nature run its course, like nature.
Okay, it's sort of like it's a bit of like Darwin's theory kind of thing,
kind of.
but broke into a religion kind of thing.
It's not really a religion. I don't know how to put it. Me and you will discuss it after.
Okay.
It's because it's a lot. Like, I don't want to confuse people. Maybe we can have an episode how they're similar, but like Buddhism, though, there's just so many other
Buddhism.
and that's the thing that a lot of the religions are all similar, just different things, different gods, different,
Yeah.
So it's like it all comes together. I don't know. It's just pretty cool in my opinion.
So like Greek mythology wasn't a religion, but like you said, different things, different gods, right? Spirituality practice in a different way, kind of thing.
Right.
Because deconstruction, it's not the end of the world. It's just a threshold.
It's the beginning.
Right. Just the threshold is just breaking one barrier and extending into another, right? And I just ask questions and make your own opinions of them. Or like study, be factual.
And I do want to say, like, if somebody is wanting to go to our religion, to Norse, I do want to say that Norse paganism does not fix trauma. It creates a space
Makes
when healing can happen. So I do want to put that out there. Like, you're still going to have your trauma, but it gives you that space for you to be able to heal from all that trauma.
Right. Faith can't survive scrutiny. It's not sacred. Right. It's got to be able to survive some scrutiny. And that's a big thing right there. And meaning doesn't disappear, it just changes.
Yeah.
So I think good closing out, deconstructing, it's not about destroying God, right? Or the Christian God. It's about refusing to lie to yourself anymore. You already know deep down, or right away. Like to Stevie's point, Christianity, she's never Christian. She's just seen the shit right away. She's like, this ain't for me. And then for me, it took a little bit longer time. So back to, it's just, we're not destroying the Christian God. We're saying just stop lying to yourself. Do yourself the justice. Find something that you're comfortable with and that's meaningful to you. Right?
Right. But I do want to throw out there before we close.
Yeah.
So rebuilding spiritually after trauma, I want everyone to remember you know God, any devotion. Your boundaries apply to the divine too. And a ritual should feel grounded, not triggering. Curiosity is allowed, and skepticism is healthy.
It is.
So I do want to put that out there before we close.
Absolutely, it's healthy. Good. And to that point, like, I skepticize on some of the shit that I read now. Like, even within my own religion, I've got to like really like ground myself, be like, okay. But then you still just do your research, right? If you believe it's true, it's true. And we're not saying that people that follow the Christian faith are wrong. We're not saying that the religion isn't real. This is an outreach to those that, if you need help, just give this shit a listen real quick. Just give it 15 minutes. And that's all it takes. If you give yourself 15 minutes, give us 15 minutes, hit that like, follow, share, comment, whatever it is. If you're on YouTube or you're on Spotify, we love you guys. We see and we greatly appreciate it. So close out this episode and we will be back for the next one, the last episode. Hope anybody who really liked the Freya episode has a lot to say about it, because I think it's a little spicy and a great follow-up to this one. Yeah. So see you guys. We appreciate your time from Upon a Heathen Path. Bye.
Bye.